Hello, how do you minimize the risk of wasting food? How do you turn your leftovers into another meal, or how do you use it to make other dishes? So I'm just working on pizza because today is Sunday, August 28, 2022, and I make pizza, sourdough pizza during the weekend. So I bake chicken during the week to go with probably pasta, and I made pasta sauce. And when I made it, I made a big batch, and there was another container as well that I filled up, but we used it because yesterday I made sourdough pizza and used it for the pizza sauce. So pretty much they are all leftovers. We use the chicken for rice and for pasta, and since I'm going to make pizza and I forgot to take ground beef because I cook ground beef, put it in small bag and put them in the freezer. So if I have some of those, I should have taken it out for that too, but I didn't do it. So I took the chicken out and I pretty much cut it in pieces that I'm going to use, but I do know that I will have leftovers because yesterday I did the same thing and I have leftovers and I put it in a bag. I'm not sure if I left it in the freezer here or not, but I put it in a freezer bag and I like to add to it. And those chopped meats, I like to write on the bag like for stir fry, so that in winter time I know that I have meat ready that I can use to make stir fry vegetables to go along with rice dishes or pasta dishes. So at the same time that I'm doing that, I know that I will have more left because the remaining from the pan that I used to store the chicken in the fridge, I have some in there with some fat. I chopped them out and I took is a gallon of ice cream. We like to buy ice cream when it's on sale. Sometimes we just pay full price for it, but we like to buy ice cream when it's on sale and put it in the freezer for birthday and holiday celebrations. So when we use the ice cream, I like to wash the container. My husband will wash it and then I will store them. And what I like to do with those containers is I like to fill it with leftovers. So I just started, and I will put sauce, meat, beans. Sometimes I purposely cook when I'm going to use bean in a dish. I will cook more than what I need so that I can use the left to put it in this container, because I like to have beans in the soup. It's just a mystery soup, I like to call it, that I'm trying to build up. So when it's full, I usually leave it in the freezer that is just in the kitchen, and when it's full I'll take it to a chest freezer and then I'll bring another empty container up. So yesterday I took one full out to leave it out for a few hours, and I just turn it in a pan and turn it in, and then just slowly boil it for hours. And I took bread that we purchased on sale, and just like French bread, just put in the oven at 250 for 15 minutes, took it out, slice it, and serve it to go along with the soup. So this has been chicken, meat, beef, pork, ground beef in the mixture. I do not like to put rice or pasta, and I like to put potato. I would say potato and bean are the only two things that I would like to add it to the mixture that are carb related, if bean has carb in it. But anyway, we get the idea. I don't like to put pasta or rice leftovers in the mystery soup. So here This came from the bowl. I didn't want the meat in the pizza, so because they are bigger chunk, so I just put it here. But I'm going to use this sauce on the pizza, and if I have any leftover, I will just add it to the pan. And I just have a spot in the freezer, freezer here, that I will put the ice cream bucket container in. And each time I have leftover meat, I will just take the container out, add it to it, close it. When I bake meat, I have meat juice, I will just add it to it. If I'm not going to use it to make any sauce, a lot of time I'll keep them in the fridge to make sauce. But if I'm not going to, or I have leftover, I will just add it to that bucket. And I just make sure I have tomato based sauce, I have meat, I have bean in it by the time it's full. That way I know that when I wanted to take it out to make soup, it's just pretty much ready. I'll just put it in, turn it to a pan and just let it simmer, bring it to a boil, let it simmer until we are ready to use it. And if it's too thick, you can add broth. I have homemade canned bone broth. I will add it to it, but the way I like to layer leftovers on it in the container, I don't have leftover. The consistency is liquid enough for us. So this is done. Sometimes when I make pizza sauce or pasta sauce and I pour it from the pan to the bowls, the leftover in the pan, I'll add some water, shake it, and just dump it in the ice cream bucket. So I'll get to this. So if I have a lot of sauce left, I can leave it in the fridge so that it can go along with dishes that we will use during the week. But if I don't have a lot left, I will just dump it in the ice cream container. So that's one way to save your leftovers, to make soup out of it. You can just, guess what you want to have in your soup, so that you collect those leftovers and you can get a big container. I like to use the plastic container because it's easy. When you put in the fridge for a day, or you put in the counter for an hour or two, it's easy to just turn it and dump it in the pan you wanted to cook it in. You could use a freezer bag as well if you're not going to have a lot of liquid based ingredient as a leftover to put in the soup. But you just have to try. But that's one way I use my leftovers to avoid wasting food. So if you are trying to save money in groceries, you can see what you have leftovers of that you can make soup with, and just freeze them instead of letting them go bad in the fridge. Mix them together and just freeze them until you are ready to make soup. And I have multiple gallons full of those mystery soup ingredient in the chest freezer, because I've been collecting it throughout the year, and I do not like to make soup in summertime. So I have about half left, so I'm just going to close and put it back in the fridge, because we could use it to eat rice, not pasta, but to eat rice. So when I'm going to make pasta, I might just prefer to make a big batch of sauce again, because I know that I will use that sauce to make pizza during the weekend. So when I'm cooking tomato based sauce, I just like to make a big batch by using 2 cans of tomato puree. And I don't know if I have one here. They are 29 ounces. I don't have any on hand here. It will be in the basement, but they are 29 ounces, big can. I don't use tomato paste. I just use tomato puree. So I use two cans, and I know I'm going to have a big batch of sauce that I can work with. So I'm going to wash my hand and add the meat. And I purposely left some hard chunks in this because we can feel it. And when you do that, when you have those meat leftovers and you are freezing them to make stir fries in winter time, for instance, it's just a way of prepping for cooking. So when it's time to cook, you don't have to chop anything, you know, you just have those ingredients ready. You just pull them out and just use them. To avoid wasting food, you might try not to keep vegetables in your fridge. I like to just prep my vegetables and put them in the freezer. And by prepping them, I know that in the winter time, when I'm going to use them, I will just take them out and just scoop or break a piece that I need to put in the food. But if you eat your vegetable fresh and you'll use it during the week, yeah, you can keep it in the fridge. I just don't want the vegetables to go moldy in the fridge. So I have enough for the pizza. I'm just going to put the leftover. I have a little bit left. It will just go in. And that soup is for my husband, so that he can take it to work. I just took it out of the fridge. And this has a little bit of broth and fat and meat, so I will add it to it as well. So I have two options. Add the leftover meat to the freezer bag for stir fries, like the way I did it yesterday, or add it to the mystery soup container. And yesterday this container was full because I made the soup for dinner. So when I was dealing with the leftover meat for lunch, I just took the bag to put the leftover meat in it. But now that I have this container empty, I can just add the excess meat here. So I will use some rag to wipe all of this, put in the trash before I wash them. So now that I close that, I will just put it in the freezer and the sauce and the food will just go back. So yeah, let me wash my hand here. Yeah, that's one way of saving your money by not wasting your food. I have a baby mattress here that needs to go in the trash, but I like to use the inside foam to get all off of dishes, then put it in the trash. case you are wondering, I'm using olive oil, coconut and olive oil soap. We sell them at ninassoap.com. They are natural soap. They are natural soap, no fragrance or dye in them. So I will come back for those dishes, but I need to be done here. We have sourdough bread rising there to make salad in the evening. There are 2 pans here that like to have spicy pizza. And by the way, that's the only spice that I purchase these days. We grow some herb and root spice that are used as alternative to other spices that are used to use. And that's one way to save money, by growing your own spices. If they are perennial to your zone, you grow your herbs to replace spices that you purchase from the store. And while you don't grow or you still want to purchase, the savings will be able to, allow you to purchase that without increasing your grocery budget, even if price is rising at the grocery store. So those are going to bake it the second time for 12 minutes. And I was saying something earlier about not leaving vegetables in the fridge. We just went outside and we harvest grape and apple. Fruit, we like to keep fruits in the fridge. But when I harvest fruit from the garden, a lot of time, unless we are eating it right away, I like to just prep it and put it in the freezer. But cabbage is something that I purchase, I do not grow. So when I purchase them, I don't like to leave it in the fridge. Although cabbage can last long, I think it can last long for you outside of the freezer. But anyway, I don't try it. So I have 2 in the bag. So I will pretty much cut it, peel some excess skin off, cut it, chop it up, put it in the freezer bag and put it in the freezer bag and put it in the freezer. That way, when I want to make stir fries, I can just take some out. I'm not going to spend time chopping up cabbage at that point. So that's my way of prepping. I don't mix food ingredient in bags to put in the freezer, because I feel like it will take freezer space if I'm taking shelf stable ingredient, adding it with freezer stable ingredient and put in the bag and put in the freezer. I'm going to run out of freezer space. So I don't do that. But things that will stay in the fridge, I like to chop them up, prep them, and put them in freezer bag and put them in the freezer. I like to write name on them and dates. That way when I need to use them, or when I'm going to use them, I can find them and use them. And I'm not going to spend time prepping for cooking at that point, because my prepping has been done year around. I have done it year around for winter use pretty much. So while the garden is growing things, though, I will just have things from the garden. But winter time, I will have harvest from the garden that has been prepped and put in the freezer, and vegetables that I purchased from the store, prep and put in the freezer, that I can just pull bags out and put different ingredients in the pan and cook with. So I purchased this because I wanted to do that, but because we are going to have salad in the evening, we are going to harvest some greens from the garden, but I like to add some cabbage to it as well. So we are going to eat it fresh the first time, and then the rest is going in the freezer. So I will, when I chop, I'll keep some for dinner, what I'm going to use in the salad, and then the rest I will put in freezer bag to put it away. So I like to buy it a little bit by little, so that I have enough supply for the winter. I just have an eye on those vegetables that I don't grow, that I want to have, or that I want to cook with. So I have some avocado here that they will go in the salad as well. So if it's not ripe, I like to keep it in the basement until it ripes, and then I'll put it in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. But other than that, and we buy those things on sale as well. So that's, that's different ways to save money. And by minimizing waste around the house.
It's 12.
And as an example, you won't see vegetables in the fridge. We have sourdough starter, we have kefir or kefir. I like to call it kefir. We have the sauce, and in fact, when I fry, I like to keep the oil in the fridge. And a lot of time I'll keep it in the freezer, but if I know I'm going to use it often, I'll keep it in the fridge. Otherwise, it goes in the freezer. When it's out, it doesn't take long. So, fruit is what I like to keep in the fridge. They last longer than keeping it out, in my opinion, especially if you purchase them from the store. So we purchase our fruit on sale. What is on sale, we'll purchase to stock up, and that will be snack for the kids and the adult as well. So we are now going, I don't like to keep vegetables in the fridge because I don't want to waste them. I do not really keep much in the freezer here, and those are bones. By saving your own bones, if you are cooking bone-in meat, you can make vegetable broth. You don't need to buy those. If you use vegetable broth to cook, bone broth, meat broth to cook, you can save your own bone, and you can use them to make meat broth or bone broth. I like to can mine when I make those broth, and that's how I collect the bones. When I have enough, I'll just get a grocery bag, put them in, and put in the freezer in the basement, so that I have, and I'll collect them until I'm ready to make that broth. So times to times I'll come and take some of those bags out of here. And this is horseradish. Horseradish is a whole spice that we grow. It's hardy to our zone 5A. And when I harvest it in fall, I'll peel the skin off of it. Then I'll put it in the bag. Or I can grate it and add oil or butter to it. And then I'll freeze that in a jar, or I will just keep the roots so that I can grate it for spices if I want to do that. When I take frozen vegetables out and I'll use them in cooking. I'll just rinse the bag and keep it. I don't like to use a lot of water to wash the bag. I just rinse the vegetables off and just shake a little bit and then keep it in the freezer so that I can reuse it for like to save the bone. So that's one way to reuse those bags for bone. But if I use something meat related, I don't like to keep those bags. They'll be oily. Like if I fill this bag and I use it for stir fries, I won't reuse this bag. I buy cheese in bulk, not in, I don't know, block cheese. So when I grate it, it'll go in the freezer bag. But then when it's empty, I'll just keep the bag. And when I buy more block cheese and I grate it, I'll just put them in the same bag. So we use them for our pizza, for instance. Those are just waters my husband likes to take along so that he doesn't buy soda for drink at work. So he likes to fill sourdough, sour cream container. I use sour cream for cream cheesecake. And that's why I have this here, because I have it's graham cracker. When I pounded the excess, I just froze it so that I can reuse it. So yeah, if you are thinking about few ways you can save money by minimizing waste in your house, those are the way we do it here. So by reusing few things like the bag that I show you, that's saving by not purchasing those bags often, and by making sure your food does not go bad in the fridge. They do go bad sometimes when I have rice in the fridge for a while, pasta in the fridge, which is very rare actually, because we eat those leftovers. But if something like last time I left cooked beans in the fridge, I know I wanted to put it in that gallon mystery soup container, but I didn't do it because I didn't know if I would use it to make another dish. But by the time I got to it, it looked weird to me. So if it's questionable, I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use something that could be bad just because I want to save money. No. So I just took it to the garden and dumped it in the garden. Because I put it in the garden, it's going to break down. So it's going to feed the land. So in some way it's a waste, but I didn't send it to the landfill. You know, I just compost it, because we grow our own food. Those things can go in the garden and break down in the same spot. I don't have compost bin or anything. I just put everything in the garden straight, and they break down easily because I'm not piling them up on one spot. So that's how I dealt with that issue. I don't like to keep food in the fridge for long because I feel like they just go bad. So I don't do that. But you just have to, you know, see what works for you and minimizing wasting food. Because when you are not wasting those food, you are using them, then you will have the ingredient you purchase in stock to reuse to cook. But if you have leftovers, you are not using them, but you are buying more, you won't be able to save money in groceries. If you think your grocery bill is high, you might want to think about if you are using your leftovers. Cooking a big batch of food is okay if you use them. So, and that's pretty much how I repurpose my leftovers to make other dishes. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, NinaSoap.com, our blog. Thank you all that watch our videos. We thank you very much. You all that subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your time. Our pizza is ready. So if you want to stick around, I'm going to take them out. Thank you. when I'm making pizza though, I know that they sell pizza, is it pizza stone or something like that? I don't, that's just one way to save money on your kitchen appliances. It's not needed, in my opinion. If you have cast iron, you will do just fine. So, pizza is done, and this one, you know what happened? I didn't put cheese in it. So, I'm going to put cheese. I'm going to put cheese and put it back in it for 2-3 minutes for the cheese to melt. Because I was talking, I forgot about the cheese. In case you are wondering, is one of the kids' old clothes, 100% cotton, I believe, that are turning to rag. But since I need something to pull my pan out of the oven, I'm using it here. Okay, so let me get the cheese. I need to rinse soap out of my hand. So I'll probably put a towel here. When you grate your own cheese, I noticed that it's easy to use more than if you purchase shredded cheese. But what I do not like about shredded cheese is they add additive to it so that it does not clump up. And it's just too much. It's just one less thing to eat with some additive added to it. Preservative, and a lot of time it's more, I think it's more to prevent clumping that they add those things. I think cellulose or something like that they add to it. It's tree based, but I just prefer to buy the block and use it. So when you shred it yourself, depending on what you use, maybe it might be finer than mine, but I don't use a simple shredder. So when I'm using it, I just try not to put too much. And some of the kids don't like a lot of cheese on the pizza. Okay, so, and the cheese is just to bind the meat, the sauce together so they don't fall off the crust when you are eating. At least I think that's the way I use it. Okay, so now I'm going to put them back. Okay, so yeah, let's do 3 minutes. In case you are wondering, the dough, how I made it, I use is the same recipe as the sourdough bread. This, to the exception of sugar. I add sugar in this, and the amount that I use differ depending on my choice. So I have half cup of sugar in here. But the pizza one doesn't have sugar, doesn't have salt. But the water and the flour are the same. So I use 6 cups of unbleached flour and 2 cups of water. Just mix them together with half cup of sourdough culture, and I just put in the same container, left it here overnight, and this morning I oiled the pan, spread it in the pan. But before I did that, I took some of the dough, put it on the side, and then after I wash this container, I put it back here, add 2 cups of water and half cup of sugar and 6 cups of flour. Mix it together and left it here so that it can rise for me to make the bread in the afternoon. So at this point I would say it's ready because it rose all the way here already, and I will, when I'm ready to do that, it will be after the pizza are done. After the pizza is done and served, and I wash those pans, I will use the 2 deep one to make the bread. So I will put some flour in it, and then I will use flour to roll. I don't need much, but just fold it. I will divide it in 2, and then I'll just fold them in a few times, and I think that creates pockets, but I try not to knead it too much so that the water pockets that are in the dough, I don't lose them all. And I'll just, when I'm kneading, I'll just fold the edges to the middle and then redo it again, and then redo it again a few times, and I'll just turn it into a ball and put it in the pan and let it rise for, I don't know, it's supposed to be an hour, but I can do less. Sometimes I don't rise at the second time when I'm late, and sometimes I can do it more, and then I'll just bake it. And we'll have sourdough bread. So thank you so much for your time. Well, it seems like our pizza is down again while we are talking. I don't know if that 3 minutes will be enough for it though. So let's take it out. And well, it was enough. To melt it. So the bottom end will be out to keep the top in it while I'm cutting those. But they are all melted, so I like the pizza crispy, so I don't mind doing that. But yeah, I love you too, Jaden. Thank you so much for your time.